Hi there, it's Grandma Missy again. I have another story for us to read. This book has several chapters, so it's going to be in several parts. Here's the book. Max Lucado is the person that wrote it. It's called Tell Me the Secrets, Treasures for Eternity. It's also written by DiCianni. This one has a story called The Shadow House, and then we're going to read about the secrets, such as the secret of forgiveness, the secret of peace, the secret of victory, the secret of growth, the secret of love, the secret of greatness, and the secret of life. So we have a lot of chapters to read. We'll start today called The Shadow House. And this one doesn't have a lot of pictures. That's just the title page. So you'll just have to listen because I won't have pictures to show you in this one. The Bible verse for this story is from Psalm 25:14. The Lord tells his secrets to those who respect him. Excuse me. At first, Landon thought he could catch the baseball before it hit the ground. But after a few steps, he knew there was no way. Eric had slammed it high into the sky, higher than any of them had ever hit a ball before. Landon just stopped and stared as the ball crashed through the window of the house all the kids feared, the Shadow House. No one he knew ever went near the place. Kids said that some people saw lights in the house at night. No one knew for sure. No one knew because no one got close. It loomed at the end of the street like a haunted castle. Eric caught up with Landon and stood beside him. "Where'd the ball go?" he panted. Landon pointed at a broken window on the second floor. Somewhere behind it, on a dusty floor littered with broken glass, was the baseball. Landon's baseball. His brand new baseball. The ball his dad caught last week at a pro game. He couldn't go home without it. The boys stared at the old house. It was eerie. Tall oak trees, gray peeling paint, loose shingles, dangling shutters. A disconnected drainage pipe leaned outward. Some windows were cracked and others boarded shut. The waist-high picket fence was nearly buried in the tall grass and weeds. "We're in big trouble now." The voice was Shannon's, Landon's little sister. She was only 9, but could throw a strong fastball and had a good glove, so Eric and Landon always included her when they played. Besides, there weren't too many kids in the neighborhood. Most families with children lived out in the suburbs, but Eric and Landon lived in the center of town, an old section with old houses. Some pretty, some scary, like the Shadow House. "Yeah, but this isn't Jerson's Field and you're not in a game. This is the Shadow House and you're in deep trouble." Landon and Eric were both 12, but their age was the only thing they had in common. Eric was tall and athletic. Landon was short and skinny. Eric always wore a baseball hat and carried his glove. Landon wore glasses and carried a book. If there had been more kids in the neighborhood, the two might never have met. But since there weren't, Eric and Landon were stuck with each other. Over the years, they'd become friends. The friendship had helped them both. Eric had learned how to run a computer, and Landon had learned where to buy baseball cards at the mall, a place both would rather have been at this moment. "Someone has to go up there," Shannon said, knowing that out of the three, it wouldn't be her. "What if we just forget the ball?" Eric said. "We can't do that. It's a new ball. Besides, we broke a window. We've got to go up there and get it." "We," Eric and Shannon said at the same time. "Yes, we," Landon explained. "Shannon threw it, and Eric hit it, and I'm the oldest." Landon was only 2 months older than Eric, but it was enough to make him feel important, especially since he was the shorter of the two. This time, Eric didn't mind the reminder. "Well, since you are older, you go by yourself." "No way, Eric, we're all going." Landon looked up at Eric and down at Shannon. Then Shannon and Eric looked at each other. "All right," they groaned. The wooden gate of the picket fence creaked as Landon pulled it open. The three gulped and stepped into the yard of the Shadow House. Porch boards groaned beneath their feet as they approached the door. "Hope the door is unlocked," Shannon said. "Shh," cautioned the boys. They hoped it wasn't. It was. The screen door creaked, the iron doorknob squeaked, and a musty smell met Landon as he opened the door. He looked back at the others and then stepped inside. A shaft of light from a side window fell across sheet-draped furniture and landed at the base of a large stone hearth. That's like a fireplace. 3 sets of wide eyes peered into the semi-darkness. "Is it vacant?" Eric whispered. "I certainly hope so," Landon answered. "Look, here's a kitchen," Shannon said aloud. "Shh," the boys responded. She didn't hear them. She was already inside, staring at the large cabinets and high ceilings. "Wow, this place is old." "Shannon, come back," Landon whispered as loudly as he could. He was still near the entryway. "Let's come back later with Dad." He was just about to tell Eric to go get Shannon when he saw a hat and a jacket hanging on the wall by the kitchen door. Neither was dusty. The house was old, but the hat and coat weren't. He swallowed hard. "Somebody is here," he said in a low voice, but no one heard him. Shannon was still in the kitchen, and Eric! Oh boy, Eric's gone. His thoughts began to race. "Oh, I'll run home. No, I can't abandon Eric and Shannon. I'll scream. No, that would only tell the hat and coat man we're here. I could. But he couldn't think of another idea. He didn't have to. Suddenly, a hand was on his shoulder. He whirled around. Sunlight from the doorway washed over the back of the man. His features were hidden in the shadow, but his size wasn't. He was big and tall, and his hand was huge, and his hand was still on Landon's shoulder. His other hand was tossing a ball in the air. "Looking for this?" Before Landon could answer, Eric's voice came from another room. "Landon, come here, it's awesome! Shields and spears and knives, come see!" Landon looked back up at the man. We were just playing ball. We didn't mean to break." Then another voice entered the room. It was Shannon's. "Hey guys, there's soda in the fridge. Somebody must be here." "Looks like you've made yourself at home," the stranger's voice boomed in the half-empty parlor. Landon looked up at the face, still shadowed. He could see a heavy mustache and the shape of a strong jaw. "Let's see what your friends have found," it said. Landon's stomach tightened as the strong hand guided him across the room. Through the doorway, he could see Eric on his knees beside an old chest, his back to Landon. "Eric," Landon said softly. Eric didn't look up. "Check it out, Landon. This chest is full of neat stuff, beads and coins, and wow, here's a headdress with feathers and..." Eric turned to show his find and then stopped at what he saw. The man behind Landon was snowy-haired and had bushy eyebrows. He wore a plaid shirt, blue overalls, work boots, and a big smile. "It's all real," the older man exclaimed. "All from the heart of Africa. Melva, come in here. Looks like our neighbors have come to meet us." A small lady with gray hair, tucked under a baseball hat, appeared from the other room and smiled. "I've already met one of them." Beside her stood Shannon, beaming and drinking a root beer. "You must be Grandpa Josh," Shannon said. "Melva told me your name." The old man's eyebrows lifted in delight. "That's who I am. We've just returned from Africa. People call us retired missionaries, but there's no such thing. We're all missionaries, and we never retire. It's just that some of us go overseas, and some have to come home when they get too old." He winked at Shannon. "That's me." "How old are you?" she asked. "Old enough to know what matters and what doesn't," he riddled, "and old enough to know a few secrets. Here, sit down and tell me about yourselves." It suddenly occurred to Landon that he was the only nervous one in the room and that he didn't have to be. He let out a sigh and took a seat on the big stuffed couch. "Bought this old house in an auction," Josh explained. "We don't have much money, but we do have time, so we're going to fix her up." "Where'd you get all this stuff?" Eric asked, walking back to the wooden chest. "Collected it through the years when we were in African countries teaching tribespeople about God. Go ahead and look." Eric didn't have to be told twice. He carefully pulled out more relics: a purple robe, a gold sash, an ivory bracelet, It goes on the ankle, Josh explained. Landon joined Eric at the chest and lifted out a bag of coins. Those aren't used anymore. An old man gave them to me. A Dutch trader had given them to him years ago. As the boys gathered around Josh and looked at the gold, Shannon took her turn at the chest. She reached inside and pulled out a cloth bag closed at the top with a drawstring. Out of the bag she pulled a book. The leather binding was soft. A strap locked it. You'll need a key to open it. Shannon hadn't realized Josh was looking. The key is around my neck, he explained, patting his chest. What kind of a book is it? It's my most valuable treasure. It's a book of secrets. A book of what? Eric inquired. Secrets. Secrets learned in a life well lived. What kind of secrets? Landon asked, looking over Shannon's shoulder. Secrets of life. The kids looked up with confused expressions. So Josh explained. There are secrets to living well. This book contains the lessons learned by a man who sought the secrets of life. Did he find them? Some of them. What are they? A big smile spread beneath the long mustache. Ah, that's the first secret. You only hear them when you ask a question. What question? Josh's eyes twinkled. I'll know when I hear it, and you'll know when you ask it. And when we know, I'll open the book. But till then, we've got another matter to discuss. He rolled the baseball in his big hands. We're really sorry about the window, Landon volunteered. Well, I'm glad you are. What do you think we ought to do about it? Learn from the mistake? Eric asked. Landon elbowed him. But Josh smiled. That's one thing we'll do, he assured. We don't have much money, Landon explained. Only $3.19 between all of us. Not enough to repair a window, eh? Josh replied. But I have an idea. This house needs a lot of work. What if I hire the three of you to clean up my yard in exchange for the window? It needs a lot of work, Shannon said. Well, it's either that or you could see if your parents could loan you the money. We'll handle the grass, Eric said quickly. Great. After you finish your drinks, I'll show you the tools. And so began the friendship with Josh and Melva, the missionaries who would teach Eric, Landon, and Shannon the secrets of life. That's the end for today. See you later.